guys, Hannah here and welcome to today's mini Zentangle session. Today is week 6, day 3, and the materials we're going to use are a black micron pen, if you don't have one, a black biro, a black pencil, a tortillon or a blending stump, but if you don't have one, an earbud and a white piece of card. This one measures 5 by 5 centimetres. If you would like to pause the video, go and get your materials and settle comfortably, we can begin. Starting with my pencil, I'm just drawing very lightly a line along each side of the square on the card to form a border. I'm then switching to my pen and I'm going to start in the bottom left hand corner and I'm going to draw an upside down U, and then to the left I'm going to draw another one, and you'll notice that I'm stopping when I reach the border, and then to the right I'm going to draw another upside down U. And then for the next row, I'm going to start at the center point of the middle U, and I'm going to finish at the center point of the one next to it. And I'm just going to draw another upside down U. I'm then going to repeat that going to the right, and again I'm going to join them so they stop at the center of the one below. And then for the ones either side, I've got nothing to sit them on, so I'm just going to draw and go down the side, and I'm going to repeat that for the right hand side. I'm then moving on to the row above, and I'm going to repeat, starting at the center point on the row below and finishing at the center point on the one next to it. On this one here I could probably draw a half one and then just finish that one off there. Following on to the next row, I'm just going to continue to draw upside down U's, always starting and finishing at the center point of the one on the row below. And once you've got something that looks a little bit like that, I think they look like a row of eggs that are all sitting amongst each other. I'm going to find the center point on the second row between the ones on the first row, and I'm just drawing a little U, a much narrower U, and I'm going to colour it in. And some of them you won't have much space to draw, so you don't really need to put one in there. And all I'm doing is filling in each one, each gap that there is that's made from the row before. And then when I get to the ones on the side, I'm just using where I think they would sit. Shading for this one is pretty simple. You don't need to add shading if you don't want to. And I've just noticed that there's 3 here. If you wanted to put them in, you can, but you will need to do it by eye because there's not one on the row below. So with the shading, you can follow the contour of the first pencil line we drew, or if you want to shade individually, you can just put a light pencil mark, and it doesn't matter if you do the right side or the left side, but as long as you stick with the same side. And then switching to your tortillon blending stump or earbud, you can just shade that out, or you can shade them if you've done them in the individual upside down U shapes. And that's pretty much it for this tangle. I'll show you some examples of ones that I drew earlier. So this is done exactly the same way, but the U's are a lot bigger. Both the outside U and the inside narrower U, they're much bigger, but they're still coloured in. And I've done the shading all the way down the side. For this one, I've done it, I thought it looked a little bit like a zipper, but my pencil lines started in that direction, and then as I've drawn them, I've actually drawn a big U there upside down, and then I've drawn another one, and then that little white, that one that's white is the same as this one that I've done in black here, and I've just coloured in the gap between. So to show you on here, the way I've done it is I've just aurored along the inside, and then there's the one I would have done, which I normally would have coloured in, but on this occasion I've just coloured in solid black in that gap that's formed. Here's an example of one that I drew where they're not starting from a corner point, they're starting from the bottom. And this one I use quite often actually. I find that if you make the upside down U's wider and shorter, I think they look quite good for underwater sea themes. And the final one I've got to show you, I've done very differently. This one I've done almost in a grid pattern, and I've drawn them in a sort of box shape, but I've curved off the edges, and then I've drawn the centre narrower U, and instead of colouring all of it in black, I've just left a little white sparkle, and then with shading I've just shaded along the tops, and as long as I keep them in the same direction, I think they look fine. So that's it for today's session. It's just a short, sweet one, and it's quite easy to do. It's very good for doing with the children, and once you've got the flow of it, you'll be able to take off and play yourself. I hope you've enjoyed today's session, and I look forward to you joining me tomorrow. Take care. Bye for now.